The Houston Texans have a really bright future in the NFL going forward. I think that we can all admit that the Houston Texans season that they had this year was very surprising. I think most of us did not expect CJ Stroud to have the season that he had, and I think I can guess that most of us did not think the Texans were going to go ahead and win 10 games, win the division, and win a playoff game. Like, that's all around absurd. The Texans might have honestly had one of the fastest rebuilds ever in NFL history, and today I'm here to break it down. They had a great season this year, and I'm here to talk about their future, because honestly next year the Houston Texans could be a top team in the NFL. I mean, they already look great and they have a ton of cap space. If they can add some pieces, they might be unstoppable. But like I said, that's what I'm here to talk about on today's video. But before I get into it, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and comment how you guys think the Houston Texans is going to do next year, because in my opinion, like I said, I feel like their ceiling could be a top 5 team if they do everything right. And let's get into it. First off, we need to talk about the amazing season that CJ Stroud had this year, because he was all around a baller. Because he's a top 10 quarterback, maybe even top 8, maybe even top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now, and all he can do is get better. So let's talk about him first. CJ Stroud had a spectacular season. He threw for 4,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Honestly, he probably could have thrown for more touchdowns if he didn't miss a few games due to a concussion injury that he suffered versus the Jets back in December. But yeah, CJ Stroud's spectacular rookie year. He broke so many records this year. If you want to talk about record breaking, we can talk about the best game that Stroud had this year, when he threw for 470 yards and 5 touchdown passes. And he went ahead and won the game with 6 seconds left on the clock on a 75-yard drive that lasted 40 seconds left. That game was all around absurd, and CJ Stroud, like I said, that was an absurd game. He's had an insane season, and this was his first year in the NFL. He can just improve on this and get even more better. This is where this Texan offense really gets scary, because like I said, CJ Stroud's already a top 10, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He can be even better, and this Houston Texan offense can get even better. CJ Stroud is definitely going to be an MVP candidate in the future, and who knows, he might go ahead and win MVP next year. His play style just truly impresses me. I mean, he can throw the ball so well down the field. He has some great accuracy, and he does not turn over the ball, which is super key at playing at quarterback. Like I said, he didn't have 30 passing touchdowns this year, but you know what? Next year, you can book that to the bank. He's going to have 30 passing touchdowns, because honestly, I can see him just going off next year and going nuclear. But if you just look at the stats, you can just see that he has some insane potential in him, and he's going to be an amazing NFL QB for a long time. And let's talk about the 2 weapons that they have at wide receiver with Nico Collins and Dell. Nico Collins had an insane year this year with 80 receptions, 1,297 yards, and 8 touchdowns, and him and CJ Stroud were balling out. If there was an award for most improved player in the NFL, Nico Collins would definitely be in the conversation for it. And then you got Dell, who sadly his rookie season got cut short, of course, because he suffered that fractured ankle. But Dell had 47 receptions, 700 yards, and 7 touchdowns, and this man was on fire before he got hurt. Definitely going to be a huge vocal point in this Houston Texan offense going forward. This man is an all-around beast, and I'm very excited to see what he does in the future once he fully recovers from this ankle injury. But yeah, these guys in the Houston offense are definitely going to be dangerous for a long time to come. They're both great at multiple things. They're both great deep threats. I mean, NFL defenses are definitely going to have a problem with both of them going deep, because I mean, okay, you double cover Nico Collins, Dell's open, vice versa. As long as the 2 stay healthy, they should be great with each other. But just them 2 wideouts as a whole, Nico Collins and Dell, that's going to be super dangerous going forward. Both are some great wide receivers. And then you also have Dalton Schultz at tight end. I know he was only on a 1-year deal, but the Texans might go ahead and resign him. I mean, he had 59 receptions, 635 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's another great weapon in this Houston offense, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if they brought him back to this offense. And then, of course, they got Devin Singletary, who had a pretty good season, and Dameon Pierce at running back. That's going to be interesting to see what they do in that situation, but I think Singletary might be the starter going forward. But who knows? I feel like the smart idea would be going ahead and keeping Singletary, because like I said, he looked like a pretty explosive back. He made some plays this year, but who knows? Maybe the GM feels differently and he wants to go trade for an explosive back, maybe like a Josh Jacobs, sign him in free agency, maybe Saquon Barkley. Who knows what he wants to do? But in my opinion, I feel like the smart idea would be keeping Devin Singletary. But yeah, this offense is definitely dangerous. I know there's probably a huge chance that the offensive coordinator Bobby leaves in the offseason, becomes a head coach with a team, but you know what? I feel like this offense can still do great things without Bobby. I know he's a great guy, he's a great coach, he really coaches offense up really well, but I think they can bring another guy in that can also help coach CJ Stroud and help this team and this offense be explosive, because they for sure got the right pieces. And then Demeco Ryan calls the plays for the defensive side of the football, and they got some key pieces there. Will Anderson is going to be a beast in a few years, and he's already balling out, and he had a great rookie year. They also have Derek Stingley Jr. I was a huge fan of Derek Stingley coming out of the draft, and He played pretty well this year, and I'm really excited what he can do in year 2 of having Demeco Ryan as his head coach. And of course, they got Jalen Petrie, Adrian Amos, Desmond King. They got some guys in that secondary. Also, Jonathan Greenard, he led the team in sacks. He's a free agent this year, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Blake Cashman, he led the team in tackles. Now, here's the thing that can get even crazier about this defense and about this team as a whole. The GM of the Houston Texans, Mr. Nick. This guy is a pretty good GM, I'm not gonna lie. With the 2nd overall pick in the draft, he selected CJ Stroud and went ahead and did some trades and traded up with the Arizona Cardinals to go ahead and pick again and select Will Anderson. So yeah, he's made some great moves, and now he has a chance to make some more great moves and do even better than what he did last year in the draft. The Houston Texans have the most cap space out of anybody in the NFL this upcoming free agency. So this Houston Texan team won 10 games this year and they lost 7. Guess what? With having the most cap space in the NFL, they can go on a spending spree and make this team even better. The offense is looking pretty good for the Texans, so in my opinion, if they were to go on a spending spree, I feel like they would add more for Demeco Ryan's on that defensive side of the ball, because there are a ton of defensive free agents coming up this year. We got like Josh Allen for the Jaguars, Brian Burns, Justin Matabike, but I feel like he's going to re-sign with the Ravens, Christian Wilkins. I mean, there are some guys in free agency on the defense that if they went ahead and gave a contract, it would be a huge help to this defense and make the team even better. Greenard, if they want to go ahead and sign him, like I said, he led the team in sacks. They can go ahead and re-sign. They have a ton of money to spend, and they can really have a great free agency this summer if they spend their money right, which in my opinion, I just think that's all around ridiculous. Think about this Houston Texan team last year when they had Davis Mills at quarterback. The team was awful, and Mr. Nick, the GM, he pulled up with a masterclass for this one, because he was cooking up something special with Will Anderson and CJ Stroud, taking those guys in the draft and hiring Demeco Ryan's at head coach, because this team looks great. Like I said in the beginning of the video, one of the fastest rebuilds ever in NFL history. I know it's a little early to say this, but the level that CJ Stroud is playing at and the level that this Houston Texan team is at and the way that they rebuild it so fast, I know it's probably really early to say this, but you know what? I have a great feeling in the future that Houston Texan fans are going to experience a Super Bowl in Houston with CJ Stroud and Demeco Ryan's on the team. I know it's really early to go ahead and say this. I know they just had their first year. This could all potentially go downhill next year, but I really don't think it will. Just everything they've done this season, it's just truly impressed me, and I like what I've seen. So you know what? I'm going to be the one who goes ahead and say it. I don't know if some people would think it's a bold prediction, but you know what? In a few years, do not be surprised if the Houston Texans are dominating the NFL, because potentially they could be a top 5 team in the NFL next year. Just the way that they have this money to spend, the way that they have a great team, a great coaching staff. Do not be surprised, guys. I'm telling you guys now, because this team is ridiculous and they definitely have a bright future, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if CJ Stroud, number 7 on the Houston Texans, leads the Houston Texans to a Super Bowl sometime in the near future, because this guy is an elite quarterback and he knows what's up, and this Houston Texan team, like I said, has a really bright future. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Watch this video right here about how the Philadelphia Eagles had a huge downfall and really what happened to the team as a whole, because their fall off was all around insane. But with that, guys, I will see you guys in the next video.